There's no call from Rosabelle or Hayden at the top of this episode, and that's because I wanted to take the time to say something else. It is utterly barbaric and insane that ICE goons are openly executing Americans on the street, and it is an utterly deranged situation that the American government is openly lying to the public about their reasons for doing so. I was in Minneapolis on Saturday, the 24th of January, when Alex Preddy was executed, shot 10 times in the back while being restrained by ICE officers. He had a gun, sure, but it was very clear it was in his holster before ICE goons removed it and then murdered him. What was he doing immediately prior? Helping a woman and daring to film ICE on his cell phone. Was he attending a protest when all this happened? No, there was no protest. He was just a guy on the street. I was there 45 minutes after it happened. I got tear gassed. I saw smirking ICE agents, and I still feel really angry about it, even though I'm a New Zealander and also quite repressed on a personal level, so find it hard to show that anger. With all that said, this is a very light-hearted episode about an entirely different topic. I really hope you enjoy it and have a moment of escapism, whilst also never forgetting that what is happening here in the US right now is incredibly messed up, and we really, really need to be aware of what's happening. And anyone with a platform to yap should be yapping about it, else what's even the point? With that said, I'm David Farrier, a New Zealander accidentally marooned in America, and I want to figure out what makes this country tick. We get a lot of listener feedback each week on this show, some of which we love reading at the end of every episode. But some feedback really just jumps out in a way that it tackles the core concept of this show, the differences between New Zealand and the United States. Such was the case when an American woman called Doretta wrote in to flightlessbirdchat@gmail.com with her tale of falling in love with a New Zealander. Little did she know at the time she'd fallen for one of New Zealand's most famous people, a man we call the Milky Bar Kid, and that they had more in common than she ever would have imagined. So get ready for a slightly unconventional love story, because this is the Milky Bar Kid episode.
LinkedIn is pretty great at a lot of things, like helping you tap into the latest trends and insights in your field. We cannot stop your coworker from tapping her pencil. LinkedIn can help you find new jobs that align with your career goals. We cannot help you find the source of that weird smell in the office fridge. Ew. And while we can't stop your coworkers from bringing their hobbies into the office, LinkedIn can help you bring your career to the next level. LinkedIn is the network that works for you.
Flightless, flightless, flightless bird touchdown in America. I'm a flightless bird touchdown in America.
Good morning, Robert.
Good morning, David.
We're recording this on January 29th, just in case any other chaos happens between now and then, and people are like, why aren't you talking about that?
Yeah, likely will.
Also wanted to address, if I'm talking a bit funny, it might all be in my head. I had some minor oral surgery where they, apparently, two of my gums, I've been brushing my teeth too hard my entire life because I thought that's what you're meant to do. Mm-hmm. Apparently, I brushed two of my gums away. And so yesterday, a dental surgeon took flesh from the roof of my mouth, sort of chopped that out, and they've sewn it down the bottom of my mouth. And it's quite sore.
Yeah, it's quite disgusting. You sent me pictures of it.
I thought you'd enjoy that.
Nope.
Yeah, quite a bit of, it's just quite hard to talk and a little bit sore, but also I'm fine. And you told me when I texted you, you've also had oral surgery.
When I was a kid, I had all the braces and orthodontia.
I didn't know that. I was a braces boy.
Yeah. I had like the overbite thing, not headgear. But the like crank in the mouth.
All of that.
To fix it.
It's so sore, that shit.
And before that was like pulled teeth and...
Oh, so your mouth was it was a bit of a mess.
Apparently.
Right. And you said you had to have your gums, whereas my gums are too thin, your gums were too thick.
I've had to have them shaved down. When I was, yes.
If we had met each other a bit earlier, potentially your shaven down gums could have been grafted onto my shitty gums.
Yeah.
And you could have fused into the one person.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all pretty gross.
Anyway, I won't linger on that, but just a little insight into my mouth. Minneapolis, I just got back from there.
It was cold, huh?
It's freezing. Someone mentioned this, but the crunch that the snow makes at that kind of temperature, it was like -30 at one point.
Is wind chill though, right? Or was that actual temperature?
Actual temp.
Okay.
It was so cold.
Yeah.
It was insane. Yeah, like the way the snow crunches under your feet is just, I've never encountered that before. I've been in New York when it's been super cold.
Yeah.
But this was like another level where like you take your gloves off for 1 second.
It hurts.
It hurts.
Yeah.
It's like painful. But I just wanted to say this isn't going to be an episode about ice in Minneapolis. Me and Rob are going to record an episode for our Patreon on Thursday talking about that. It's going to be free. It's not going to cost anything. So if you go to patreon.com/flightlessbird, the episode of us talking about Minneapolis and trying to digest what's going on there will be there. It'll be a separate episode, free. There it is. Just briefly, I went to Minneapolis for the march, the strike and the march that happened on the Friday, but the day before Alex died.
Yeah, you were going because of the Renee Good protests.
Yes.
Essentially at that point.
Yeah, on the Friday there was a strike and a protest about that killing.
Yes, and just the presence of ICE there.
Yes.
And then you get there and this other horrific thing happens.
Yeah.
Things just kept escalating.
I ended up being at the site where Alex was executed about 45 minutes after it happened. So things kicked off there pretty quickly. So I've got a series of 5 pieces up on Webworm. That's all for free. That's kind of, that, if you don't know about it, that's sort of my journalistic outlet. And so that's at www.webworm.co. It's all free. But I've got a series there about attending the march and the general strike on the Friday. Then a piece on Alex getting executed on the Saturday. And then I went out with some citizens that were doing ICE patrols. So that's that network of residents who are going around basically documenting what ICE is doing. And when you look at the government's response to these 2 murders, if we didn't have footage of what was going on, then holy shit.
Well, I mean, there's stuff going around of like, they're lying about it when we have it on camera. Imagine what they're doing when we don't.
Totally. And I think that's when you think of how important these ICE patrols are, they're so important. Without that, it's like, what have we got?
The like steps they're now taking in reaction to it, now that like it's clear they've been caught.
Yes.
They're like sidelining Bavino and on these other things. Like the policy isn't changing still.
No, and that's the thing, I think, why I feel so mad. Coming back from Minneapolis, you just got to see firsthand how smarmy the ICE agents are. Like, they're just, that's how I describe them, like the way they interact with people. They're just smarmy and awful. And this whole, getting rid of Bavino, there was this sort of temptation at the time to sort of go,
we won. We're done. Won. This isn't going to happen anymore.
Nothing has changed.
Before we go too far off of that, yes, you were seeing that stuff, which obviously everyone is angry, but there is also this element of seeing Minneapolis come together and the people there and the rest of the country coming behind them too, that I think is so representative of America.
And we were texting about this while I was there. Like, I've never sort of witnessed people coming together and being so organized. Like, the way mutual aid is so embedded in that community, the way people are just, they have food and money to give and to help. And even when the tear gas started flying on Saturday, about an hour after the murder, we were all obviously being pushed back down the street, and businesses and residents were opening their doors. And I just remember a cafe opened their door and we all sort of flooded in. And there were a couple of people sitting there just having breakfast and coffee. Like, they'd just gone for their breakfast and coffee. And this cafe let a bunch of people in who all had like snot coming out their noses, and they were all completely messed up from the tear gas. And all the beautiful napkins that were laid out on the tables of the cafe, they just use those to wipe your faces down, snot off your face. Here's water, here's drink, here's coffee. And that cafe was still going 10 o'clock that night. And that's just, and the coordination of the community to push back and not take it sitting down is so, it's hopeful. Like, I find that, I'm so cynical about that word, but it is fucking hopeful.
Well, it's the juxtaposition of the most inhumane parts of this country, but then also the most beautiful and humane parts.
Completely. And seeing those two rubbing up against each other was wild making.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand how those both come from the same place. It's like, did you have different history lessons at school? Like, where did this, like, why are we doing this? It's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously, I'd just say beware of every bit of dialogue you see being flung around on the internet. It's like AI is into the conversation. There are videos that are AI that people are saying aren't. There are the videos that are real that people are saying is AI.
Yeah.
And just restrain yourself before you repost or say anything, because it's pretty wild out there online, and that's all by design.
Yes. And I think it's also just shows the silos. Like,
yeah,
I had restrained myself from trying to have a conversation with my brother about this until this more recent one happened.
Right.
And like,
was that a call or a text?
It was I almost called him.
Yeah.
But it ended up being a text of just like, I don't know what your thoughts are on what's happening and what you're seeing. But like, clearly you've got to see how fucked up all of this is.
And what was his take?
I mean, there was some acknowledgement of that, but then there's obviously like backpedaling on other things, and then like he shared videos from his feed to me that were like such manipulated versions of reality. Like, it was a video of like the Alex video in slow motion where it was like 100% justification of this,
right? Him making a movement,
and it was like
or
2
something.
frames of like, and they're being like, he's reaching for his gun.
I've seen images going around of when Alex was holding up his cell phone, people sharing images of that zoomed in, circled, it's just with the word gun there,
and it's just this like crazy gaslighting that is happening where then the response is like, well, your videos are the same, but it's not. Like, the videos that we're watching are like, here's footage of what happened.
Yeah, I think you're completely right, because that's the wild making thing about it is you're like, we're all watching the same video, so why aren't we all seeing it? But you're right, we're seeing very different versions of that same video, manipulated in very different ways.
It's this insane thing of what the right has been doing is calling out these things that they're usually the ones guilty of doing it. There's stuff going around now of like campaign funds going to funding the protesters and their travel.
That's the whole
January
narrative.
6th.
They're all paid.
Yes, but that is like been the claim to the left the last how many years was that there's paid protesters.
Yeah.
The fact that it's coming out that these people were potentially paid protesters.
Yeah.
It is all very maddening.
Another thing that exploded yesterday, which was the 28th of January, when we record this, is that essentially footage came out from, I think it was 10 days earlier, of Alex yelling at some ICE agents and trucks and kicking the taillight off one of their cars. 2 interesting things came out of that. The first was this narrative that went insane that it's just AI. It wasn't AI. This was real footage. It was confirmed by numerous outlets. But that was one whole big, very annoying argument to see, was people saying this is AI. Just frustrating to see immediately the place you're starting from is false. And then that video, you see this, and I saw a bunch of people, I guess from, I don't know what it is, the right, this strange pocket that I don't understand, saying, look, he was violent. This is why he was a menace. This is why he was killed.
This is why his execution was justified by people that are not able to make that determination.
No, and it's wild on every level. You know, if those agents knew that Alex was the one that kicked their headlight out, it's worse because he was targeted for that execution. Also, that very obvious thing of what you just said, probably didn't know that.
Yeah, but also that's not how our criminal system works. No. Like that's not how it's supposed to work, and they're not the ones that get to decide that. And the fact that like this person who is dead is being villainized and attacked, like there's no they're just grasping at straws to make him the enemy
in an insane way, and it's backfired on to a point. But I also I feel like America and the world as a whole doesn't realize how fucked up and scary it is. Like when you see the number of ICE agents patrolling in that city.
I think America does realize how scary it is.
I hope they do. I still worry that enough of them don't.
Yeah. Yes, I guess I can't speak for the country at large.
I hope you're right. I hope en masse people are coming around to how much of a slide into fascism that this is, and I hope they do.
Well, I mean, we're seeing the demonstrations and the protesters and the people out there. Like, those people understand what's happening.
My worry is the reaction when someone like Greg resigns. Little ICE chief, when he resigns, that people cheer like that is some sort of victory.
And that the fight is over.
And the fight's over. In the same way that so many people thought Kamala Harris was going to win at the time, and it was clearly Trump the whole way. I'm afraid like we take these wins as too much of wins when there's so much more to be done.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that is my fear as well, because him being gone does not fix
what's happening.
Issue and what's happening.
Well, no, still agents still flowing in. There's now...
Yeah, they're in Maine now, I think.
Yep, coming into Maine, and also very clearly taking footage and keeping a database of protesters and people that are turning up to document these killings.
The whole, though, what it's setting up with the votes coming for the midterms is also terrifying, of like the seizures of the ballots in 2020 in Georgia now.
Well, clearly the overriding thing over all of this is we have a president that doesn't want to give up power. And with this election coming up, he's not going to want to go. And all these things appear to be creating a scenario where Trump sees himself being able to stay in power. And that's,
Well, yeah. It seems like now
terrifying.
The actions are out of place of desperation and fear on his part, which is a much scarier place to be in. We're seeing the tactics elevated as a result.
Yeah, but I feel like I came back from Minneapolis with a newfound appreciation for how messed up all of this is. And like what you said, how fucking cool the people are there, because they are. Like the people in Minneapolis that are not ICE goons are all friggin' amazing, and everyone's looking after each other, and that's the part of America, and those are the Americans that I love.
Yeah, and I think I want to keep reminding you, I think that is more what America is and what we're here to talk about on this show.
You get all my angry texts of being like, this place, man. Okay, an awkward pivot into an episode that is full of whimsy and charm and light.
Yeah, what everyone needs. I mean, you said it in the intro. I think it is the escapism of some of this is nice to have.
Yes. Well, we need to give our brain. Look, it's important to be engaged in everything that's going on. It's also important to occasionally have moments, if you can, of calm. Else, we're all going to fall apart and be completely useless.
Yes.
And that's kind of what I think of this episode as being.
After you wade through this.
After wade through all of this muck. But again, on Thursday, free on our Patreon, Rob and I will talk more about this. We're going to record that a bit closer to release because things are moving so fast. Stay tuned for more Flightless Bird. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. This episode of Flightless Bird is brought to you by Wild Grain. Wild Grain is the first bake from frozen subscription box for sourdough breads, artisanal pastries, and fresh pastas. Plus, all items conveniently bake in 25 minutes or less. I don't know whether you're aware how much I love bread, and especially sourdough, but good God, this is built for me. You get it out of your freezer, it's in the oven for 25 minutes or less, and you have this beautiful bread smell all around the house, and good God, it tastes good. And unlike many store-bought options, Wild Grain uses simple ingredients you can pronounce and a slow fermentation process, and can be easier on your belly and richer in nutrients and antioxidants. There's no preservatives and no shortcuts. Wild Grain's boxes are fully customizable. In addition to their variety box, they have a gluten-free box, a vegan box, and a new protein box if you want that protein. I love Wild Grain. I now know where I want to get all my bread from. Again, as I read this ad, I just think of the smell in my house at the moment. So good. There's nothing like having an artisan bakery in your freezer to chase away the winter chill. Now is the best time to stay in and enjoy comforting homemade meals with Wild Grain. I highly recommend giving Wild Grain a try. Right now, Wild Grain is offering our listeners $30 off your first box plus free croissants for life when you go to wildgrain.com/bird to start your subscription today. That's $30 off your first box and free croissants for life when you visit wildgrain.com/bird, or you can use promo code BIRD at checkout. Support for Flightless Bird comes from Bombas. Now, people keep saying to me, what's your 2026 resolution? Sure, I've got my usual goals, including making this podcast each week for you. But this year, there's a new one at the top of my list. Get comfy, be happy. And that's where Bombas comes in. They're bringing serious comfort to all my everyday go-tos. Like if you're into sport, the all-new Bombas sports socks are engineered with sport-specific comfort for running, golf, hiking, skiing, snowboarding, that kind of thing. I do a lot of hiking at the moment, even more than I was doing last year, and I love these Bombas sports socks just for that. Also, they do footwear. For those everyday around-the-house situations, Bombas also has you covered with the comfiest footwear imaginable. I really like their Sunday slippers. I love a good slipper. Haven't had one in a long time. Now we're here in winter at the moment in the US. I love my slippers for nighttime. And the new squishy Saturday suede slip-on shoes are great for comfort on the go. And underneath it all, you can get underwear and tees, the softest base layers that will have you rethinking your whole wardrobe. Bombas underwear and t-shirts are flexible, breathable, and buttery smooth. For every item you purchase, an essential clothing item is donated to someone facing housing insecurity. One purchased, one donated, with over 150 million donations and counting. Head over to bombas.com/bird and use code BIRD for 20% off your first purchase. That's BOMBAS.com/bird, code BIRD at checkout.
All right, listen up, nacho chips. Quiet down, crispy potatoes. This is the moment Velveeta's been preparing you for, and you're not about to crack under pressure. Today's the day to go all in on the drip. Velveeta's Heat and Eat Queso is the MVP of any game day spread, so stick by them, and you'll be golden. Now get out there and make delicious history. No tailgate party is complete without Velveeta.
As some background to this very quirky little documentary today, it is based in the world of chocolate. We have done a chocolate episode. We've done a candy episode, which this listener that is the focus of the doc listened to and wrote in about. But just recapping, chocolate in America, Rob, this is such an awkward transition to fucking ice. But just Hershey's chocolate is a focus of this doc a little bit. We return to this. I think it tastes like very off milk or sort of vomity.
Spoiled milk.
What is your take on just generally the state of chocolate in America? That's my big question for you today.
I mean,
very important topic.
I don't have a strong stance. I'm not a big chocolate consumer, so
what was the last slice of chalk you had?
Like, there's a Nashville chocolate spot, Olive and Sinclair, that I love. I wear the sweater sometimes.
They do good chalk.
They do great chocolate.
Great chalk.
But they're like a small batch. Artisanal chocolate shop. So I can get behind that.
Would you ever buy a Hershey's chocolate bar?
No.
Just not going near it?
I mean, maybe if I'm making s'mores and I'm camping with the boys, there is a nostalgic flavor to that. Okay. But like, I'm not buying chocolate.
I mean, it's revolting.
Eat.
Yeah, a Hershey's chocolate, the first time I had it, because in my mind, Hershey's chocolate, I'd feel like even in New Zealand, I'd seen the ads for it. In New Zealand, you can get Hershey's, but we just never touch it, because why would you? But my first taste of Hershey's, it was like, good God. Like, I know I'm from a country that has...
You're a chocolate snob, is what it sounds like.
I am a massive... For all the shit I give you about being a snob, I'm a massive chocolate snob. Awful. Tastes like vomit. Tastes off. Tastes disgusting.
I mean, I'll disagree there. I've had Hershey's and I don't think it's awful.
You don't taste the vom?
No, I mean, it's...
You're American. It's a sign of an American. You're being indoctrinated into the vom. You don't know any different. You've had it since a kid and you don't know how bad it is.
I mean, I've had good chocolate and I've had Hershey's, and yes, I can tell the difference of like good high-end chocolate.
But you're saying you don't taste the vom.
Thinking back of it, I'm not, Hershey's is fine.
Incredible.
So tell me though, what is Milky Bar?
Okay, so that was going to be my question to you as well. When I say the Milky Bar Kid,
what
images are conjured up when I say Milky Bar Kid? Because the Milky Bar Kid in New Zealand is an icon. He is as big as Jacinda Ardern. As big as the All Blacks. Big as Lord of the Rings. As big as James Cameron's Avatar trilogy?
You telling me that makes me think of the Pepsi girl, the Pepsi kid.
Who's the Pepsi kid?
Jesse Eisenberg's little sister.
I'm unaware of this.
It was just like a little girl from Pepsi commercials.
No way. And what did the Pepsi Kid do? Like, did
I
they
don't
have
know. She was just the Pepsi Kid. I mean, that's what you explaining this reminds me of.
So the Milky Bar Kid, and I go into this a little bit in the doc, but the Milky Bar Kid was a commercial we had in New Zealand advertising a white chocolate. So
I do like a white. What are your thoughts on white chocolate?
I love a white chocolate.
I do love white chocolate. It's controversial.
Men, we love white chocolate.
It's controversial, though.
We love our white.
Natalie hates white chocolate.
Yeah. I think. Look, I'm sort of joking, but I think it's a white people thing.
People say it's not real chocolate.
No, I mean, it's basically just like sugar with no class. I feel like it's. I mean, I love it. I shovel it down.
I love white chocolate too.
Okay. It's going to be a white chocolate lovers episode. So you would love the Milky Bar. It is one of our, when I say our, it's not actually a New Zealand brand, but it got really big in New Zealand.
Where is it from?
It's from like Switzerland.
Okay.
But it got big in New Zealand. And then we made this ad, the Milky Bar Kid. And the Milky Bar Kid was essentially this kid in the late 80s, early 90s. He was dressed up as a cowboy.
As he would be.
As you would be. Note that New Zealand doesn't have a cowboy culture, so it's riffing on American culture. He would roll into like an old Western town. There'd usually be some kind of criminal who had stolen all of the Milky Bars in town. The Milky Bar Kid would roll in. Kids in the town would be like, oh my God, it's the Milky Bar Kid. And he'd come in, he'd kill, it's very American, he'd kill the robber. He'd grab like a chest.
How would he kill him?
He had a gun. Very American.
So this is a very violent commercial.
Very violent commercial. Like. He would kill, I'm probably making this up. I think he just like waved a gun and the robber like freaked out, dropped all the Milky Bars. The Milky Bar Kid would grab this chest of Milky Bars and deliver his iconic line, the Milky Bars are on me. The whole town would celebrate, and that was the commercial. And this became so big.
Was it one commercial or is it a series of commercials?
Good point. It was a series. There was one primary one, and then they made some variations.
Okay.
And it was everywhere, and it was huge. And with that bit of knowledge about Hershey's and the Milky Bar Kid, I think we're ready for today's documentary.
Do you have any American commercials that you like?
Good question.
Because in this case, there are multiple along the same theme. I feel like we're losing that a little bit.
The last series, I remember thinking, that's a bit funny, was I'm probably going to mispronounce this, the Brute ads, the deodorant. It was a very sexy, luscious black man who was always topless, muscly, beautiful.
Talking about Old Spice.
Old Spice.
And that's Isaiah Mustafa.
Okay, that ad was amazing. Sorry, Brute is another, maybe that's a New Zealand brand. Old Spice. I thought that series was top shelf.
I do really like the progressive commercials.
What are they? I feel like I might have seen them, but...
It's the guys that are, the people that are turning into their parents.
I haven't seen these.
So it's them like at the valet line talking about, it's just like doing, so I like them so much because it reminds me so much of my dad. And it's pretty much like, don't be like your parents. You're turning into your parents, stop doing the things. And there's this like coach that's with them, stopping them from doing these embarrassing dad or mom things.
That's a fun
where they're like, he's at a coffee shop and they call out someone's name and they don't hear it. So he picks the coffee up and he's saying the name as well and just making dad jokes.
Yeah. That's a series that works. I still am amazed at how much money goes into ads and how shit they still are. So when you get a series that's actually funny and works, it's like, oh my God, this is what they all should be like.
Yeah.
Like, it's amazing to me how terrible they are.
Yeah.
Even some of the Super Bowl commercials.
Which, speaking of, Super Bowl is coming up.
Oh my God, ad time.
And there are ads, lots and lots of these. I do feel like they've gotten worse over the years, but...
Yeah, like, I also... And probably Coca-Cola is probably one of the most evil companies alive, I imagine. But I've always enjoyed Coca-Cola commercials. I have like a very warm memories in New Zealand of watching like the polar bear having a Coke.
Yep. Yeah.
And just thinking like, oh my God, I love this. I love this drink. I love this cute polar bear. Give me Coke.
Yeah.
So the Milky Bar Kid was like that for us. We love the Milky Bar Kid. Obsessed with him.
Okay, let's hear about the Milky Bar Kid.
Okay.
I'm Doretta Hess, and I live in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Doretta tells me that she works in the medical field, doing something complicated that I don't fully understand, but it's important work that she enjoys. She got in touch with Flightless Bird after listening to our Candy episode, wanting to tell us that while her work is important, her mind sometimes drifts to her great-great-grandfather. and how if her great-great-grandfather had made a different choice, she wouldn't be working in the medical field at all. She'd probably be working in the chocolate business instead.
So my maternal grandmother was a Hershey, and the story is, and I verified this with my dad, who is a truth teller. He makes sure everything he says is accurate. So my great-great-grandfather, his name was Levi Hershey, and he was a cousin to Milton.
As in Milton Hershey, the man who started Hershey's chocolate in America, and Doretta's great-great-grandfather was Milton's cousin.
We don't know for sure if they were first cousins, second cousins, I don't know. But they were cousins, and my great-great-grandfather was a caramel maker, and was asked to go into business with Milton at one point and thought it would be a poor choice. So we missed out on that.
I didn't know this until now, but before Hershey's was a thing, Milton Hershey pioneered the creation of caramel in the US. That's why he'd wanted to go into business with Doretta's ancestor, also a caramel man. But for whatever ill-fated reason, Doretta's great-great-grandfather said no to working with his either second or first cousin, and so he missed out on being a part of what would turn into the Hershey's chocolate empire. He missed out, which meant that Doretta, decades later, also missed out. But why is she still thinking about chocolate all these years later? Well, chocolate wasn't done with her, apparently.
So I was invited to my friend's 50th birthday party. Shout out to Tony, my friend Tony, who, we were friends, but I didn't see her a whole lot because we lived an hour and a half apart. And she invited me, and I went knowing she was going to be the only person I would know at this party.
Doretta wasn't the party type. She was divorced 14 years ago. She had a busy job. She had her hands full. She already had a kid who was now in their 20s. And she definitely wasn't looking for love.
Hayden was the first person to introduce himself to me when I walked in the door. And he was lovely. I said to him, it was very loud where we were. And I said, are you local? Meaning, do you live here? And he was like, well, I'm originally from New Zealand. So we chatted a little bit. He was lovely, had this sparkle in his eye. And then we kind of went our separate ways most of the rest of the evening, until kind of the after party. And he kind of came over and asked me to dance. And I said, I'm a recovering Mennonite. And he said, I don't know what that means. And I said, it just means I'm bad at dancing. Then I danced with him. And we kind of have been inseparable on the weekends, at least, since then. He was just immediately different from anyone I ever met before. So it was lovely.
Doretta had fallen in love with the best kind of person, a New Zealander. Hayden had moved from New Zealand to the US 26 years ago. And like her, he had also been married before.
And then we had a little chit chat. And then, the party was in the back room of the pub. And then I was trying to get the courage. I'm like, okay, should I go and talk to her? Am I ready to perhaps have another relationship? And so, but yes, my first impressions were wow. Yeah, stunning, beautiful.
That was 2 years ago now, and they're still going strong. And Hayden, he isn't just a New Zealander, he's a farrier. And just for people listening that have no idea what a farrier does, what does a farrier do?
So we basically, every 4 to 6 weeks, we go to a barn and we basically maintain horses' feet. So we trim them. So you can have a horse that's either considered a barefoot. Just like we would cut our fingernails or our toenails, we basically are doing the same to a horse. Or if a horse needs shoes, we basically do the same thing where we trim the foot. We take a shoe, we shape the shoe up in order to fit the foot, we nail it on, and then, of course, we clench the nails and dress the feet up. And so anywhere from 4, 6 to 8 weeks is the usual shoeing, trimming cycle with horses.
And where are most of the farriers, would you say, in the United States? Where are they mostly working? All over, or?
All over the States, mate. Yeah. Where I live here in Maryland, it's very horse country. So we have a lot of horse industry here in Maryland. pretty much right up the coast. You got a lot into New Jersey, down obviously Florida, Wellington, Ocala, which is where the big horse shows are during the winter months.
It's nice to be talking to a current, real-life farrier. As for me, I've let the family name down, abandoning horses for podcasting. Kind of like how Doretta's great-great-grandfather abandoned Hershey's chocolate. I'm trying to smoothly transition back to talking about chocolate again, because there's something else you need to know about Hayden. He also has chocolate in his past. Back when he was just 9 years old, living in New Zealand, he had starred in one of the biggest New Zealand advertisements ever made. In the late 80s and early 90s, he was the face of New Zealand's most well-known chocolate campaign for a white chocolate called the Milky Bar. And Hayden was cast as the Milky Bar Kid, this blonde child dressed up as a cowboy who'd ride into town on a horse, defeat the bad guy, and liberate creamy white chocolate for everyone in the town. These ads were, and still are, deeply ingrained in New Zealand culture.
It's the Milky Bar Kid!
The Milky Bar Kid is strong and tough, and only the best is good enough. The creamiest milk, the whitest bar, the good taste that's in Milky Bar.
The Milky Bars are on me!
Milky Bar, so creamy white, this ain't Milky Bar.
Now, Doretta, when did you understand that Hayden is, one of New Zealand's most well-known sort of people? When did you understand this?
So, he told me about it within, the first week or so of us meeting. And I had never heard of Milky Bar before because I haven't seen enough of the world. And, so, I got from him that it was probably a pretty big deal, but I did not understand how big of a deal that was until, first I started telling my friend who had lived in the UK for a while, and she was like, "Oh, that's huge." And then when he started to show me like the scrapbooks that his mom had put together, like of him being in magazines and his all the travel he did, and I think there was a fan club. Like there was an article when he retired, and I was like, okay, this is a pretty big deal.
It was a huge deal. If you were alive in New Zealand in the 90s, the Milky Bar Kid ads were everywhere.
You can see what kind of dilemma I'm in though, mate, is like I promoted a white chocolate. Now I'm dating a girl that comes from the dark chocolate side. Like, what do I do?
You can't write that stuff, right?
And we were definitely giggling about the Hershey's comments during the candy episode.
Technically, Milky Bars are a Nestle thing, a chocolate launched in Switzerland in 1937, which eventually made its way to other countries, including New Zealand. The Milky Bar Kid character was invented in 1961, first as a cartoon, but it was in New Zealand that he had been personified, made flesh, by Hayden. After the campaign came out, he'd travel the country during the school holidays, making live appearances in malls, his catchphrase imprinted into the brain of nearly every New Zealander.
The Milky Bars are on me!
I think there was 5,500, 6,000 kids that auditioned for this. So you would sit there and then somebody would come out and they'd be like, Hayden Luke. And, you'd go on and they got you dressed up in like a little cowboy outfit. And they were basically saying, okay, if you can imagine that there's a chest of gold in front of you, we just want you to pull the gun out, shoot the chest, and hold the gun up in the air and say, the Milky Bars are on me. And that was basically it for the audition. And then I was down in Oamaru spending time with my family over Christmas that when I got the phone call to say that, we've gone through them all and we'd like you to be the Milky Bar Kid. So yeah, it sort of blew me out of the water, really, because I had no experience prior to that. Being 37 years ago, it still baffles me that it's still a big thing.
Now he lives in America, and when he's out working with horses, as a farrier, he's dressed not too dissimilar to how the Milky Bar Kid dressed. He's still got the original outfit from when he was 9, by the way, but it's back in New Zealand. It never made it to America. Do you still have the Milky Bar outfit from the ad? Did you keep any of the stuff?
I do actually. It's at my parents' house, only because I'm afraid that the holster and my gun and things will be taken off me if I should go through the TSA.
Oh,
because
your tiny holster.
Yeah, it'd be barely able to wrap around my thigh. That's how small it is around my waist. But the bullets on the actual belt are actually fired rounds that were put back together. And
so they look like they look like a bullet that hasn't been fired. It's not just a shell.
Correct. Yeah. So they're going to confiscate it as soon as they should see that in my bag. So yes, but I have my little vest, the hat, the glasses, the scarf. It was a very primitive outfit.
So every year, Hayden goes back to New Zealand to visit his old gun, bullets, vest, hats, glasses, and scarf. He also allegedly goes there to visit his family too. And last year, Doretta joined him for the first time.
It was our 1-year anniversary, and I went home with him, met his family, and it was amazing. Not only did I meet, like dad, sister, grandpa, I met uncles, aunts. We traveled all around, and I got to see the beauty of New Zealand and meet some great family, and cousins.
Cool.
Yeah, it was great. And it was really good because I got to meet his grandfather before he passed away this year. So.
Oh, beautiful. That's really special. Her visit down under also made her understand things about her new partner that she'd never really understood before.
So Hayden always says, I'm going to go to the toilet. We here typically say, I'm going to use the restroom. And it kind of hit me why he says that, because some of the New Zealand homes, the toilet is not in the powder room. Like, it's not in the rest of the bathroom. So it's maybe down the hall by itself. And so I was like, oh, that's why you say I'm going to go to the toilet. It's literally just the toilet.
She also had her first ever taste of a Milky Bar, a chocolate you can't easily get in America. Tell me about your first Milky Bar experience, because it's a sweet chocolate. It's a sweet white choc.
Yep.
It is. It was lovely. I am not normally a white chocolate fan, but It is really, really good. Like, it's sweet, but it's also creamy and just really delicious.
Right now, Doretta and Hayden are planning their second trip to New Zealand. I'm really glad they got in touch with our little podcast. I really like the fact that somehow an American and a New Zealander gave each other a second shot at love. I love that one of them happened to have a history with a creamy white chocolate, the other with a brown chocolate that tastes a bit like vomit. And I like the idea that a New Zealander who played a cowboy, riding around on a horse pretending to be in America's Old West when he was just 9 years old, found himself decades later living in America working with horses, for real. And that answered all my questions, bar one, what chocolate they preferred, Milky Bars or something of the Hershey's variety. They refused to answer me. And maybe, for the sake of their relationship, that's for the best. Stay tuned for more Flightless Bird. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. Support for Flightless Bird comes from Grow Therapy. Now, I'm sure you've thought, or you've heard someone else say, therapy is just way too expensive. Very valid. It used to be the end of the conversation. But what if therapy didn't have to be? With Grow Therapy, care is designed to be affordable, insurance-friendly, and easy to understand. No subscriptions, just support that fits your life and your budget. Whether it's your first time in therapy or your 10th or your 20th or whatever, Grow makes it easier to find a therapist who fits you, not the other way around. They connect you with thousands of independent, licensed therapists across the US, offering both virtual and in-person sessions, if that's what you want, nights and weekends. And you can search by what matters to you, like your insurance, specialty, identity, or availability, and get started in as little as 2 days. And if something comes up, you can cancel up to 24 hours in advance at no cost to you. No subscriptions, no long-term commitments. You just pay per session that you have. Grow helps you find therapy on your time. I've found therapy incredibly valuable in my life, especially since being in the United States, where I feel it's more part of the culture here. But wherever you are in the world, therapy can be a really good thing. Whatever challenges you're facing, Grow Therapy is here to help. Grow accepts over 100 insurance plans, including Medicaid in some states. Sessions average about $21 with insurance, and some pay as little as $0 depending on their plan. Visit growtherapy.com/bird today to get started. That's growtherapy.com/bird. growtherapy.com/bird. Availability and coverage vary by state and insurance plan.
This episode is brought to you by Stouffer's. Here comes 3-time juggling champion Natalia Rogers. She's juggling law school, her TA job. Oh, narrowly catches the laundry. What's that fourth ball? Parents unexpectedly showed up at dinner time? Is that too much for Natalia? Not with Stouffer's Chicken Alfredo and its mouth-watering mix of Asiago, Romano, and Parmesan. When you're juggling 4 things at once and the clock strikes dinner, think Stouffer's.
My mouth is so sore.
You salivating?
I'm salivating.
Thinking about Milky Bar?
I just had a lot of cold matcha drink because I thought that would, but it's made me I got a lot of milky, salivary kind of stuff going on right now. Yeah. I'm sure people love knowing this about the inside of my mouth. It's actually one part you never want to know about the inside of a body, like the inside of a mouth, the inside of anything, right?
No.
So I'm going to stop talking about it.
Yeah, please do.
What a sweet story about an American woman, a New Zealand man, one from the world, a history of dark chocolate, the other white chocolate. They found each other and they had a second shot at love. Isn't it nice?
It's very nice.
It's so nice. It's a ray of light we need. Questions, thoughts, feelings?
Questions. Caramel or chocolate for you?
Oh, my dad, Alistair Farrier, is a caramel man. I am a choc man all the way. I have to not buy chocolate at the supermarket because if I have a block at home, I'll just eat the whole thing. Like I can't stop eating, and so I have to be really careful.
Yeah, every time you go to New Zealand, you come back with so much chocolate too.
Oh, I bring back Whittaker's is our main brand, and I bring back a shit ton of it. And I have to make sure I give it away to friends almost immediately because if it's just sitting in my house, I'll be like, oh, maybe I'll have a little bite.
So do you buy it with the intent of I want to give it to people, or you buy it selfishly and then it's
no intent of giving it,
okay,
but then the selfishness takes over
and then you end up not.
And I end up eating a hell of a lot of it, and that's really, really bad.
Okay.
Yeah, I love chocolate. I'm not against caramel. For me, my perfect chocolate, I do like a mint choc. If there's some mint involved,
I like a mint chocolate. Yeah,
the best. Put some nuts in there, I'm pretty happy. I like some texture to be able to chew a little bit. But again, the white choc, pretty great. Not against it.
And then he was a farrier.
He's a farrier.
Any relation to you?
No. I looked into it. No name. Just by trade.
Is that where your name came from, though?
Yeah. So my relatives in the UK, my dad is from the UK, and back in his family tree, my dad's a veterinarian, but back in the day, relatives would shoe horses. We would make sure that shoes have great looking feet.
But so that means your name was just your ancestor's occupation?
Yeah, that's what a farrier is. Yeah,
but they
I was
just
a
take that
horseman.
Name? Like you don't have a family name then? It was just
that's the
like
family name.
David Doctor?
No,
like
what? Yeah, no, good point.
Or they were the first farriers, and farriers were named after your family?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's
how it works.
I don't think that's how
I mean, I quite like having a surname that like says something
your profession.
About like what we do. I think that's kind of cool.
It
and
is
I love
cool.
horses.
It's very old-timey, but it also feels like it pigeonholes you a little bit.
Well, look how broken free from the farrier name. You know, as I said, when I was a kid, I was into horses for a while.
Yeah.
There was a version of my life where I could have got back into farriering, but that's how it said.
And worked with Hayden farrier.
And worked with Hayden. It got confusing actually in that doc when Hayden did come into the story because I was like, people are going to think this is my Hayden Donnell.
Yeah.
But no, this is a different Hayden.
It's Hayden Farrier, the Milky Boy Kid.
Exactly. That's
but his
exactly
last
what
name's
it
not
is.
Farrier. He's just a farrier.
He's just a farrier. Yeah, it gets a bit. I know there's a lot going on in the episode. I was trying to link a lot of things together: America, New Zealand, cowboys, farriers.
By also just throwing confusing.
Yeah, no, I'm not. This is not helping the clarity of this episode. But no, talking to him, I was sort of thinking. We actually had someone email in a couple of weeks ago saying, "Please do an episode on American farriers," because as a profession here, apparently. It's one interesting thing is it's kind of unregulated. Like you don't train to be a farrier and get a qualification. So
you're
out
born
there in
into
America, you're born into it. Out there's like really good ones, but then there's also rogue farriers that are doing like ripping people off. So apparently that's a topic we could dive into even more.
Yeah.
Starring the Milky Bar Kid.
And then last thing, you mentioned there was a fan club for him. as a 9-year-old.
Yes. So I like quite the idea of having a fan club. You would hope that all the members were also kids.
I would hope so.
Yeah, if you met someone and they're in their like 30s and 40s and they're like, "Are you a member of this club?" And what club? Milky Bar Kid Club? Red flag. Immediately.
Red flag, yeah.
Yeah, terrible. But he was like a celebrity. Like he'd go into malls and on school holidays and people would turn up to see him like deliver his signature line. Mm-hmm. He had a little cowboy outfit on. He was like very like nerdy. He had like little sunglasses. If you watch the video on YouTube or Patreon, you'll see. But he's little nerdy, skinny white kid. That was his whole thing.
Did you get into his finances at all? Like it was.
Oh no, I did. No, I said, was he?
Did he set it up for? Did it set him up for life?
It did not set him up for life. Apparently, at the time, I can't remember the exact amount, but it wasn't amazing. It was like 10 grand or something.
Because the advertising industry is also probably different in New Zealand than it is in America.
I imagine so. He got paid a decent amount. It's not like he got paid only in Milky Bars. No, it's not like he got when the ad went well, he got extra. It was like a flat fee.
Yeah.
His parents put it in a savings account for him, locked it away. It was fine.
Okay.
But it's not like he is he still needs to work today.
Yeah,
he didn't retire on his laurels on Milky Bar Kid.
Yeah, which I would imagine most people starting commercials, it's not setting them up for life. But you do see though, like Flo. I think Flo and like Milana from the Verizon commercials.
Yeah.
Like I think they get set up like
for life.
Pretty well, I don't know for life, but to be these spokespeople for these brands.
Which, as we talked about in the Subway episode, is quite for a brand to bank all your image on one, like a person, is a risk.
Yeah.
Because like Subway did that with Jared and that went badly for them. Mm-hmm. But no, of course, if you're that front person, you get paid a shit ton of money.
Yeah, which then,
It's like a side dish of that. I am surprised sometimes by when I see people that are celebrities in America, that sort of their career's over, and you sometimes see them having to do fundraisers for cancer treatment and things like that. And I am sometimes amazed at and reminded of how, even if you made a shit ton of money back in the day, like you're not set up for life in this country necessarily. And if you don't have good healthcare, you can ultimately get screwed over still. Like I believe I might be talking about my ass here, but I think there's some fundraisers being done at the moment for James Van Der Beek from Dawson's Creek, who has, I believe, cancer. And the fact that people are having to fundraise for him, in my mind, I'd be like, Dawson's Creek, you're set for life.
Yeah.
Not the case at all. Like it's rough here.
Well, and then there's also the side of it too, where I think more and more recently, celebrities going into the advertising space is no longer as taboo. Like I don't think back in the day you would have seen Daniel Day-Lewis doing a toothbrush commercial.
No, it's mad. I mean, it used to be that celebrities would go to places like Japan and get their big payday somewhere else entirely. Whereas now it's not seen as selling out.
Ryan Reynolds doing a mobile company.
Which is wild to when I look at that, I'm like, looking at the level of celebrity, like you definitely don't have to do it. Mm-hmm. Like you have so much money. Why are you? It just comes down to greed. Like you just want more money.
I think they make more money doing that. But is it greed or it then allows them
to? Greed.
It is a little bit.
It's all 100% greed.
But I do think it also allows them to then focus on things in their career that they want. If they like, I have
best case scenario.
Yes.
Yeah, they can go and make like an indie film or something, or do something with that money.
Yes.
Mostly it's like for another extension on the house or something, you know. Look, I've been so hectic in Minnesota. I haven't gone through all the feedback. I would like to say that the die versus dice, which I kind of really set myself up for a fall there. Got a lot of emails clarifying dice is the plural of die. So I just want to point that out.
When something's very easily searchable, we should probably just stop, search it, and correct it.
I should take my own advice, you're saying, and Google it, as opposed to saying to our audience, I don't know this fact, can you please email in?
That, or I don't know this fact, but let's speculate without looking it up and just guess what it is.
Yeah, not a great approach. I've learned my lesson. But thank you for anyone that wrote it. Thank you for everyone that wrote in, clarifying that. Jason wrote in regards to our Dungeons and Dragons episode. It brought back a lot of fun memories. I played that in many other role-playing games in junior high and early high school, just about every weekend late into the night in the mid-90s. Other games were set in the cyberpunk worlds, the Star Wars universe, a world with vampires and werewolves and fairies, even Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, where I was a mutated kangaroo. One friend's girlfriend at the time was very, very disapproving. She was part of a church group that called D&D satanic. She also claimed that Disney movies were satanic because they encourage dark magic. Think Ursula in The Little Mermaid and Jafar in Aladdin. Although you may want to know about another element of the satanic panic. D&D was also targeted by chick tracts, little comics that warned of the evils of many things like rock music, Halloween, and other religions, you name it. These tracts might make a good episode. And I agree with Jason on that. I've had some of these handed to me while I've been in America this time around. These little cartoon tracks, they're sort of folded up. You like open up the paper and it tells a story of how Satan will get you. Have you seen these things?
I don't think so.
I've had them handed to me on like Hollywood Boulevard, like around like the Walk of Fame and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And they have apparently a really interesting history. So I'm going to look into that. And finally, a lot of people still writing in about banana pudding with various recipes. We will do a
banana pudding
episode. And I would like to say thanks to everyone who has taken our prompt and has delivered ideas for Flights of Fancy. Appreciate that. We've got a lot of people that have written into flightlessbirdchat@gmail.com about various cults they're involved in, and also amazing suggestions for history teachers of every persuasion available. So thank you so much for those.
I think keep all of those coming.
Please.
For Flights of Fancy, it's bit.ly/FBFancy.
There was one submission that someone made, you texted it to me, and I like grinned. I was like, this is the dream submission. So good.
And then history teacher. If you are a history teacher, you know a history teacher, male, female.
Yes, we'll take any history. As long as you know your shit, we want you.
And the dream is like that dynamic, fun, energetic history teacher you had as a kid that made history fun. We want to do some episodes on specific historic moments in American history.
Yeah, I need to know these things, and I just want to be able to tap into someone for moments instead of reading a Wikipedia page.
Exactly. It would be nice to have an authority on certain topics. And then lastly, if you escaped a cult, know someone that escaped a cult, maybe ran a cult.
Or if you're still in the cult.
And
you're a little bit on the edge and you're like, I would love to talk about this with two podcasters on a podcast called Flightless Bird.
Yeah, I would say we've already covered Mormon.
Yes.
Scientology.
Yes.
But really anything outside of that. We've done enough Christian stuff too. Yeah. So outside of those three.
We want to learn.
More niche cults. Like there's some in Chicago that I remember. Like, I
mean, America has more cults than most countries, and I want to learn about them. And yeah, as always, any feedback, flightlessbirdchat@gmail.com. Again, this episode, you're listening to this, it came out on a Tuesday. On Thursday over on Patreon, we'll be discussing the Ice Goons and Minneapolis a little bit more in depth. That episode will be completely free and unpaywalled. And yeah, we're getting scarily close to having enough members on Patreon where we reach our reward of flying Roosevelt over kicking and screaming to the United States of America. So I'm particularly excited about that.
Yeah.
We'll see you soon.
See you next time.